you can see, I'm back with yet another episode of my favourite LGBTQ plus recommendations. Firstly, just to get it out of the way, there haven't been one of these for a few weeks because of the masses of homophobic abuse they've been getting whenever I promote them on Twitter, Facebook, Spoutable, Instagram, TikTok. One of the videos even got taken down on TikTok due to apparently going against their terms and conditions. But yeah, you're allowed to put up horror movie stuff, guts and gore and all that sort of stuff. But it is what it is. But I'm back with a 2-for-1. And who doesn't love a good bargain? For this episode, we're looking at the Fantasmagoria series by Stephane Cote. Now, Stephane is a Canadian artist and writer who I've worked with a couple of times, in fact, and is one of the most unique, talented, artists I've ever seen and had the privilege of working with. And they are also a very, very, very talented makeup artist as well. So if you get a chance to look at their TikTok and their Instagram and all that sort of thing, then please do, because you will be absolutely amazed. But back to the books. Fantasmagoria is a 2-book series that is very hard to explain, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I just mean that in a way that it's, to me, it's utterly unique, and it doesn't really need an explanation. But the best way to describe it would be how Stephane describes it on the cover itself: an operatic graphic novel. And you know what? That sums it up brilliantly, because there's even a CD with songs by Stephane that go with these books, and they match up perfectly. So if you can ever get your hands on one of those, honestly do. But with Volume 1, I won't tell you much about the story. It's kind of impossible to describe it without a lot of spoilers, and as you know from my previous videos, I cannot abide spoilers at all. But I will read from the back of the book. It also has a quote from when I used to do a website called The Curiosity of a Social Misfit, which has now been renamed as my author page, author blog on Blogger. And I have neglected it a little bit, so I will be adding more up onto there soon. But for Volume 1, it says, "Welcome to the evening. Montreal succumbs to nuclear strikes. Felly, a young man from the city, narrowly escapes to the outskirts, where he falls in with a bunch of misfits. He follows them to Bedside Manor, the former Hollywood hotel of Fantasmagoria, the fun park for adults. There he meets the other Bedsidians and their leader, the notorious and dangerous Jezebel Widdenworth. Felly faces terrible loss, fascinating encounters, and a frightening new realities at Bedside, the ultimate destination for love, revenge, rock and roll, and radioactive chaos." Now, I'll tell you the quote from my website, because I've always been proud of this quote, I'll be honest. It says, "Utterly stunning. This is definitely a title to keep an eye on, and Cote is a name to keep up with, because if this first book is anything to go by, the series is going to be absolutely fantastic." Now, I'll get on to Volume 2 in a second, but Volume 1 has some of the most random, and again, I mean it in the nicest way, art that I've seen in a long time. And one of the things I really liked about it is, as you go through the book itself, it changes art styles. So you've got that style. Then you've got this style. Then you've got this. Now, in the hands of a less talented artist, that would be very jarring and it would take you out of the story itself, but it doesn't. Stephane uses colours, angles, even the way that they draw different people and their surroundings, making them different with each point of view of the story. It just adds to a wonderful feeling that keeps the book staying with you long after you finished it. And one of the things I really liked about Fantasmagoria is the simple fact that not only is it pro-representation, which is amazing, it's got everyone under the rainbow, so to speak, but it doesn't just make that their personalities. That is who they are, yes, but that's just a part of who they are. Some are evil, some are good, some are in between. And that's exactly how a good writer should tackle the characters, and Stephane has done an amazing job of that in the first book, to such an extent that it's a wonderful setup to the second one. See what I did there? Linking them together. Number 2 is the conclusion of the story, and it follows much the same art style. One of my favourite pages. I just love the angles, the colour, the shading, the detail. So it follows the same sort of pattern with the art, but at the same time feels utterly different to Fantasmagoria 1. And yet that doesn't feel disjointed at all. It makes perfect sense because it gives you, in much the same way as the character is feeling disorientated and unsure what is happening on who is good, who is not, it gives you, the reader, the same sort of feelings to go with that as well. And that's amazing that Stephane can basically play with your expectations of who the characters are going to be, what they're going to do, what they're going to say, what they're going to, even what they're going to look like or wear. And that's wonderful. But this one is just utterly superb. Both books deal with a myriad of things. They deal with bigotry, they deal with homophobia, transphobia, they deal with being made to feel unwelcome, being made to feel like you shouldn't exist just because of who you are, who you love, even how you look. And it even deals with grief and loss and mental health. And Stephane does such a wonderful job of this that I honestly think it is one of the best comic book series that I have ever read. And I've read these two multiple times now. And even though I've read them multiple times, every time I find something new that I've missed the times before. And that is the mark of a great comic book collector and creator, and like someone that can just play with your expectations for a series. Now, they've got a new one coming out soon, I feel. I believe the title was He Queens, but I could be wrong on that one. So make sure you double check their Instagram and their Facebook and their TikTok. But I honestly can't recommend Fantasmagoria enough. It is one of the most unique, well written, well drawn, or well thought out series that I, as a comic book fan and sometimes creator, have ever read. I honestly wish that if I do carry on with the series that I'm working on, if it's even half as good as that, then I will be the happiest creator in the world. But Stephane is one of the most talented artists and writers and musicians that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, and their makeup work is just amazing. So if you can, grab yourself a copy of Fantasmagoria 1 and 2. if you're able to, grab a copy of the CD that comes with it as well, and just sit back, have an open mind, and read something that will stay with you long after you've finished it. And be prepared to read these again and again and again. And each and every time you will notice something new. Could be a little detail in the background, could be the tone of how a character speaks to one another, can even be the slight changes in the art style or the facial expressions of the characters. But believe me, they're worth it, every single penny. With that in mind, and just to make one more thing clear, yes, I fully believe in what is on my t-shirt, protect trans kids. Trans rights are human rights, and like I said in the last video, the rights for the LGBT community as well are not pie, so you're not going to get less if the LGBTQ community get their own rights. But it's also your choice on if you decide to act in a discriminatory way. Now, if you're a person that does that, it will probably be not the best idea in the world to keep watching this channel, because I am going to, despite knowing my favourite reviews that my work and my videos have gotten, and my novels have gotten, and my art has gotten, I'm going to be posting a lot more of these videos and a lot more regularly. Also, considering the work I'm known for was described as gay shit with magic, if you're watching this video and you're feeling like you want to be discriminatory, then you're very much in the wrong place. But that's my only rant for today, I promise. I know I've put up a couple of rants, but that's my last rant. I promise. At least for today, anyway. But back to the books. Go out, get yourself Fantasmagoria Volume 1, Volume 2. Get them both together. You won't be sorry. And you will be reading, again, one of the best comic book series I've ever read. And I really hope that some of the side characters in these are going to appear in some more stories by Stephane, because that would be amazing. Because this will leave you wanting more. And I do know they've got a new title coming out soon, so keep an eye out on it. With that in mind, be nice to one another, live your best life, and I'll see you all soon. Love you loads.